Hello, fellas and ladies. It's time to continue the pre-festival Oscar predictions with director and screenplay. That's right, two categories in one. Three categories. Oh my god. Let's get right into the director. I still think Denis Villeneuve will probably just win for Dune. It does feel like one of those things that like is supposed to happen, but then just doesn't happen. But at this point in time, I'm struggling to find an alt. And Denis Villeneuve makes a lot of sense. There's going to be people who go, "Oh, he's probably not going to get nominated because Dune won," which I see the case for it. I get it. But the thing is, he's probably going to win Critics' Choice. That's the biggest thing. He's probably going to win Critics' Choice. And at that point, you kind of have to say, well, he's probably going to win everything else then, right? I understand what branch you're talking about, and I do see the case for him to miss, especially since he missed for Dune 1. But I do think Dune 2 is just so clearly a bigger director achievement than Dune 1 is. Like, a lot of people are, like, talking about, like, how does one do this? Considering how practical the film is. I think until there's a solid, like, opponent, I think it's just safe to assume that Denis Villeneuve is just going to win. Sean Baker for Nora, if anyone were to beat Denis, I guess it could be him at this moment, but, like, he's not going to win. But I think Sean Baker, a nomination is pretty secure. I feel like everyone agrees it's his time to get, like, this recognition. Sean Baker's definitely got that, like, if... Grant, I haven't seen Nora, but the vibe I get from it is that it's, like, audience-friendly, but in an auteur way. And I feel like, he's kind of a slam dunk. I feel like it would be weird if Anora got all these, like, nominations and then he missed. Because Anora is clearly going to be one of the strongest players of the season. And from what I can tell, Anora has a very frenetic, like, style to it. And Sean Baker's style is very, like, grounded in a way, but there is something a little goofy about it. And I think with that, I think Anora is going to, like, fit very comfortably in. Like, Sean Baker will get that nomination quite easily. I do have Jacques Audier for Emilia Perez. If Emilia Perez is in the picture, Jacques Audier is just going to get in. I feel like the top three here I'm as confident as can be. Emilia Perez, it's kind of like a Nora. From the vibe I'm getting is that there is a Tory, like, indie art house thing going on, but it's very broad and very, like, mainstream. In fact, even more mainstream than Nora. Plus, it being an international player certainly helps. Jacques Audier, like Sean Baker, I think it's his time. It's his time to get nominated in the director category, and I think the Academy will be very, very pleased to do it. So Denis Villeneuve, Sean Baker, Jacques Audier. I feel good with that three, very much. After that, I think Luca Guadagnino for Queer. Now, that's a motherfucker whose time it is to get nominated. I know I said it's his time a couple times with Baker and Audier, but, like, it's really Luca Guadagnino's time. I don't know why he wasn't nominated for Call Me By Your Name, but I think Queer will be a lot more accessible. I think Queer will be a lot more, like, I don't want to say mainstream, because I don't think that's going to be totally true. I think it'll be probably arguably the least mainstream of the five I have selected, but I think that'll help it in a way. Luca Guadagnino clearly has a distinct, like, directorial voice that I think will help him get, like, these, nominations. I think people, considering challengers, I think this is, like, people will have no problem saying, all right, let's get Luca Guadagnino nomination finally. It's his time to get in. I know I said it's his time a lot, but it is his time. But there's a lot of people I've very played around with, like, well, if the movie gets in, they get in. One of those people is Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. And quite frankly, I did struggle to keep him out, but it just kind of felt like process of elimination. There's only 5 slots. Maybe he's like the Noah Baumbach of the group. Or, like, of course he would get in, but, like, he just doesn't. I did decide to stick with Mohamed Rassalouf for the Seed of the Sacred Fig. I don't need to tell you what the narrative is. He fucking risked his life, him and the whole crew risked their lives making this movie. Considering the government, he's now exiled, and now the movie's, like, brave for that, and apparently it's excellent, and also very well made. So, fuck narrative. I feel like if Seed of the Sacred Fig's in picture, how does he miss direct? Like, that's a nomination just secured in director. But I am starting to wonder about Seed of the Sacred Fig. Maybe I jumped to conclusions a little bit, but, it is going to, Telluride, it's going to TIFF, it's going to New York. It's going to maybe continue to drum up buzz. Oh, I probably should have mentioned Honora and Emilia Perez are also doing those. I mentioned TIFF, New York, and Telluride. And then Queer is doing Venice, going premiere at Venice, and then it's going to continue on to TIFF and New York. So that's fun. These movies are just going to keep on drumming up the momentum. Just keep on gaining buzz. Same with The Brutalists, also doing Venice, TIFF in New York. And then there's Greg Quidar for Sing Sing. I rewatched Sing Sing, and it's more auteur than I remember. A lot, it's being filmed on 16 millimeter, and it like has like very stylistic shots, very these moments where they're letting the actors just kind of talk and like let them tell their stories, and yet it all feels comprehensive. I feel like he would get in. I feel like he is gonna get some precursors that maybe missed the nomination at the end of the day. But I don't think we should underestimate Greg Quidar, especially if we're thinking it's going to win Best Picture. I've seen less flashy work get in. The director, I feel like they're... It's just, who the fuck is Greg Quidar? I feel like that's the biggest thing against Greg Quidar is, like, he's kind of a nobody. This is probably his biggest, like, jump into, mainstream. There's also kind of the elephant in the room with Todd Phillips for Joker. I know I just don't think Joker fever is going to be as, like, big as Joker 1 was, and I think that, like, going to be some, like, things that Joker misses out on, like maybe screenplay. Because I think it will annihilate with text, but I think that, man, it's tricky leaving Todd Phillips out, but I feel like that's what's going to happen this time around. It's, they're going to be a little more rejecting towards it, even though it is going to get a lot of text. Ugh. I guess I have to consider it. Steve McQueen being this low, what's going on there? Why do I think that? Now, Steve McQueen for Blitz, I think with my growing distrust of Blitz, he goes down with it. He's a flashy director. There's something there with him still. I don't know. Something about Blitz overall is starting to give me doubt. I don't think it will be as big as we expected. Maybe it's just a lower tier contender, and those don't get director. Unless you're, like, international, which... as far as my research goes, it's not. Now, something like Pedro Almodovar and Joshua Oppenheimer from The Room Next Door and The End, respectively, I feel like I would definitely put them in had I been predicting them for picture, which at this moment I'm not. But especially in terms of Pedro Almodovar, if The Room Next Door gets picture, oh my god, is he in? I would put him in number 4, maybe. Like, he would just be such a lock. It's wild to think that Pedro Almodovar has only been nominated once for Talk to Her. In 2002, like over 2 decades ago. Far past time for him to get nominated again. It makes sense. And if it's getting picture, he's in for sure. But I don't have it in picture, so I can't go for him. And then as for Joshua Oppenheimer, at the end, it's going to be very interesting. It's very cinematic, like all of his other documentaries. Well, as The Act of Killing is, I haven't seen his other one. I really want to. But it's just, the end is very much in a wait-and-see state. Now, as for Ridley Scott, no, right? Some people are starting to get excited, saying, oh, what if he wins? What if he wins for this? No. I don't think Gladiator is going to accomplish what Dune can. There's no, I think the existence of Dune is a threat to Gladiator, no matter what. They're not the same movie, I don't think, but, they're very much in a similar thing, and there's no way Gladiator's going to top what Dune accomplished. And just judging by the trailer, it doesn't look like other than, good set pieces, Ridley's doing anything particularly unique. So I'm not buying this Ridley Scott and director thing. I guess I can't rule it out, of course, but I'm not. No. Edward Berger for Conclave. I don't care that he didn't get nominated for All Quiet. That does not disqualify him from directing nominations throughout, so I'm going to keep that. So, I'm going to throw that fact out. That said, if Conclave's in picture, I don't think that guarantees him a directing nomination. I feel like if Conclave is in picture, I wonder what if it's like a top 5 or just is another nomination. I'm not, really, down with this idea that, Conclave is going to be, this massive deal. At least not yet. I'm definitely down, it's possible, but, I'm not totally open to it yet. And with that, let's just play some devil's advocate and say Conclave is in picture. I don't know if I would predict Berger. I don't know if I would take Guadagnino or Rassaloof out, or if I would put him over Brady Corbet or Greg Quidar, or even Todd Phillips for that matter. I'm not really seeing what about Conclave is so special that it has to be over these other ones. The Saturday Night trailer is out, and I gotta say, I'm actually kind of looking at Jason Reitman a little more. I don't think he would happen. My guess is firmly no, he would not happen. But the tone of the movie is different than what I was expecting. It looks a little bit more like a pretty high octane, stressful, not a thriller, but thriller-ish kind of thing. Very much a ticking time bomb of a movie, and that kind of makes you wonder if maybe Reitman has a little more juice in this movie than we thought. Reitman's by no means a director who takes shortcuts. He's a very competent filmmaker. So, I'm not going to throw out Reitman. I think we should look at Reitman a little bit. After that, I'm not really buying a lot of these. Pablo Larraín would definitely happen if Maria was in picture, but, James Mangold, I'm only really mentioning because I have a complete unknown in picture, but, just judging by that trailer, I just went, no. Mangold's a competent director, but, Nothing about his direction is very flashy or auteur for that matter. He's very much a very good, very competent, very talented studio director. And that's what he is. I don't say that disrespectfully. Paolo Capadia, For All We Imagine Is Light. I do not take it lightly that my first mention of a woman director is all the way number 17. Just the unfortunate nature of what this year is. Maybe All We Imagine Is Light starts to pick up steam, but I believe we're past the point of Best Director getting in without Best Picture, and I don't think that's going to happen. Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. I did see Hell County this evening. Competent director. I don't know. I'm still not really buying Nickel Boys very much, and I'm gonna keep saying that. And no Ramel Ross. Mariel Heller for Night Bitch. If Night Bitch is in picture, I could actually play with her a little bit, because I feel like there's going to be some interesting things to doing, because Amy Adams thinks she's turning into a dog. Mary Heller is not the flashiest director in the world, though, so I am curious how she's going to approach this. After that, I don't think Mike Lee would get in, even if Hard Truth is in a picture. Robert Zemeckis here, hilarious. Robert Eggers for Nosferatu. I mean, it's going to be Tex. If it gets in picture, maybe, but it's Nosferatu, probably not. For original screenplay, I do have Nora at number 1. I feel like that feels like it could be its consultation prize, but nonetheless, it's gonna get nominated. I don't have to explain myself. It's gonna be flashy, like jokey stuff going on. Yeah, it's got it. Well, not the win. It's got the nomination on lock. I do have The Brutalist at number 2 for a good reason. This movie's gonna be very it feels like a character study of Adrian Brody's character, and I think that just means it's gonna get I really think that we should take Brutalist very seriously, and with that, I think that screenplay would just absolutely come along with it. And that's a caveat I should probably mention, that if it's not very good, if the movie's not great, then forget about it. But I'm hearing masterpiece with this movie, so I'm taking this movie seriously, as should you. And original screenplay would make a lot of sense, as would The Seed of Sacred Fig, if it's in picture. I think that's a guarantee. Could even win. I actually buy that possibility a lot of a win for See You Sacred Fig and screenplay. It's very much, I hear it's got some very flashiness with its script, and I do think it would be a contender to win at least. Now, A Real Pain, Complete Unknown, being 2024, put through a real wrench at A Real Pain. That was not intentional. So with that, we do have to look at Kieran Culkin and screenplay with some question marks, but I think I would still predict A Real Pain, at least in screenplay. It sounds like A Real Pain could get screenplay without picture. I don't think that, it could be even screenplay without Kieran Culkin. It sounds like the screenplay is going to be really interesting. So I feel fine predicting A Real Pain still. In terms of Blitz, I feel like I should probably take it out, but then I'd have Blitz getting nothing above the line, and that feels a little sticky. So I'm going to keep it in for now, but that feels very fringe. It feels like, I'm only doing it because, I needed above the line for Blitz. And I took Steve McQueen out, and all of acting out, spoiler alert. It feels like it could be that Best Picture thing that just gets into screenplay, just by nature of it being a Best Picture nominee. I still think the challengers could get screenplay. It will not get picture, it will not get actress, it will not get score. I think if challengers getting anything, it's screenplay. And I still think it could happen. The fact that Justin Kritzky's is also writing queer could throw a bit of a wrench at that. But I really think with the flashiness and the chaos of Challenger's screenplay, if, let's say, Blitz goes into the fucking fire pit, and there's not, if it's weak, I think Challenger could still happen. So I'm keeping Challengers at 6, because I think it makes sense, and I don't want to throw it away just yet. Saturday Night, if it's in picture, definitely. If it's not in picture, honestly, maybe, still. Again, it looks like, but judging by the trailer, it looks like it's got a lot of, trash talky, kind of shithead dialogue with each other, a lot of smack talking, and that could be very quick and funny. I mean, I'm really excited for Saturday Night. I can't wait to see it at Toronto. It sounds very fun. And again, and I really think it has a really good shot. If it's good, then that's all it needs to get in, really. And also, some other movies have to drop out. Hard Truths, Mike Lee is good for nothing, which he isn't because he's great. But in terms of the Oscars, motherfucker gets screenplay nominations. I think Another Year got in over Black Swan. That's not nothing. It's just Hard Truths is sounding a little divisive at the moment, so I'm going to wait until I see it at Toronto. History Daughters, I have seen it, and I think this could... It's something that makes sense in theory, but doesn't actually happen. I think that with Latasha Leone, it's just going to be so what they prioritize that, the screenplay might just fall under the cracks. Through the cracks, I mean. You can't fall under cracks. So I'm going to keep it down here. But I think it's possible. It's very much a chamber piece, dialogue heavy movie. So, It could happen. The end, not without picture, of course, but with picture, I think even then it might not happen. Being a musical and screenplay is never the best thing to do. Maria, with picture maybe, but eh. And then The Apprentice. I don't even know why I mentioned it. Adapt screenplay. Sing Sing and Queer, in my opinion, are going to be duking it out for the win. And I think Sing Sing will take it just on the basis of it being the best picture winner in my head. But Queer, Justin Koritsky's clearly has something with his writing. So, I'm interested to see how this plays in the race. But Sing Sing, I also, a lot of the monologues, I don't know how improvised they were. So, I'm waiting to see on that one. But I think Sing Sing, by nature of it being the best picture winner in my head, that's going to win screenplay. But it could be Queer. I'm open to it. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Dune Part 2 is getting nominated for screenplay. It is absolutely getting nominated for screenplay. People were doubting Dune 1. People were going, no, action movie can't get a screenplay. And then it got it, and it was like, oh, I'm going to learn nothing for next time. Dune 2 is getting screenplay. Just deal with it. Like, why would this one miss? Why would the superior movie, like the consensus superior movie, miss screenplay? Explain that to me. Every time I see someone going like, I feel like Dune's going to miss screenplay this time, I go, why do you think that? Everyone just goes, oh, it's gonna get a screenplay. It's super obvious. It's being one of the biggest contenders. Come on. The Room Next Door is adapted, by the way. It is fully based on a book. It's not even like adapted or anything like that, like loosely adapted. Maybe they're gonna try for original. It's just straight up an adapted screenplay. So with that in mind, with the weak competition, I gotta throw it in there. Pedro Almodovar hasn't gone screenplay in a bit, but I think this is gonna be a little stronger. Plus, it's in English. I have no issue saying that this is probably gonna get adapted. Yeah, if unless competition starts packing up, I think maybe it could miss, but no, I feel like this would get in. Then that last spot, I'm kind of going between the two picture nominees, between A Complete Unknown and Joker. I went with The Complete Unknown. Complete Unknown, musical biopics don't really do well with screenplay, but I feel like this one's going to be a little bit better received than Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody. I feel like this will be more along the lines of like a Maestro, per se, in terms of a screenplay, where it's like, maybe it's not deserving, but it kind of gets in on the nature of it being a screenplay, being a picture nominee. But then there's Joker. The musical elements could be a problem, but it is still being touted as like a psychological thriller. The first one got screenplay pretty easily, and I do wonder if this could follow that trajectory again. But I do feel good having A Complete Unknown in there instead of Joker. That feels right to me. After that, it gets interesting. I think other than Emilia Perez is the only one that I haven't pictured. I'm like, that's probably not gonna get screenplay. Although maybe it could. It has a lot of original concepts, but it is also I heard probably gonna be adapted. But again, being a musical definitely is a problem. Original musical, granted, but I know it's adapted, but it's an original musical. It's a complicated thing that I'm not going to get into. But I'm going to say Emilia Perez misses something, and I feel like that would be screenplay. Piano Lesson. If it's in picture, I'm going to predict it. I know Ma Rainey missed, but that wasn't in picture. Without picture, I wouldn't predict Piano Lesson, which is what I'm doing. It's just kind of out of nature of what's the races. Conclave, if it's in picture, absolutely. Same with Nickel Boys, but again, I'm not falling for the tricks. Hitman, I don't want to disqualify it just yet. I do think that there's something with Hitman to still play with, and it would be here. If it got anything, it would be this, but it being a flat-out comedy isn't great, and also didn't make as much noise on Netflix as maybe people wanted. So I'm going to say Hitman definitely misses, but I don't know. Maybe. Night Bitch, if the movie's good, sure, but for now I'm going to say no. Collaboration, where the fuck is it? Here, ha! That's it. That's writing and directing nominations. I did it. Like, subscribe, and share for more prediction videos, because I'm going to make more of them before the festival begins. Festivals, I should say. Not the one festival. There's multiple.